All right, this week I'm going to be talking a lot about staying present with where you are in the race week. Ironman's next weekend. So what we need to do in this period is to stop comparing ourselves to other versions of ourselves, former versions, history, how fit we were before, how fit we are now, because it's simply fodder for self-flagellation. All the way we measure ourselves, power meters, GPS, they're instruments of dread that just take us into a backward spin of judgment, which is not what we need in race week. So the practice then is to accept our current state, whatever that might be. It means letting go of the measurement in this last week. It means letting go of the measurement to past performances. It means rooting our feet in the present moment and embracing the reality. And the reality is, it is as it is. You've got the fitness you've got, and you're really not going to know that until the gun goes off, until you're halfway through the race. So you need to stop the self-flagellation. You need to stop the comparison to the past. You need to stop measuring how fit you are this time against last time, because they never measure up. But it doesn't mean a damn thing either. And, in this game, consistency wins. Regardless of your level, consistency wins. It really is a daily incremental crawl forward that puts us into fantastic shape, that puts us into a place where we can really come out of ourselves and perform at the top level. But to do that, we need to be out of judgment. We need to be out of the past. We need to be out of the constant measurement, the self-flagellation, the comparison, because all of it is a movement away from pain and suffering. And paradoxically, even a move towards wanting to feel better, even a move towards wanting to feel pleasure, is also a move away from suffering. And these small ideas and concepts that we're talking here are big things, right? It's not a way of having to let go of the past. It's simply allowing things to be as they are now, focusing on where they are now, focusing on what we can do now. Staying calm during this next 10 days is critically important to a big effort, a big challenge, a discomfort that we're lining ourselves up for. So we don't try and move away from the discomfort by moving into pleasure. We don't try and move away from the discomfort by measuring the past, because that makes us more uncomfortable. That's the paradox of it. Every which way we go is a dead end that makes us more and more uncomfortable, more and more doubtful, and what we're trying to assuage in these race weeks is doubt. That's what we're trying to get on top of, because on race day, the performance is going to be one measure and one measure only, and that is the measurement of your level of awareness and presence and groundedness in that performance. So if you want that race day to be grounded, if you want that race day to be consistent, if you want that race day performance to be solid, you've got to be accepting. You've got to be in a state of non-resistance. And the same applies to race week. You've got to let race week roll out the way it rolls out. You don't go into self-judgment. You don't constantly pull out your old training diaries and look at what you did the last time you did an Ironman and how successful that was, or how terrible that was, right? Because both of those things have the capacity to impact your level of presence in the performance on race day. So you are a product of what you think. So if you spend days and days and days leading into the race thinking about what you don't want, I'm sorry, but you're going to get what you don't want. Or if you're constantly measuring yourself against what you've done before, you're limiting yourself, because you're giving yourself no elbow room to jump up to another level. The only way you can jump to another level is to give up the past. Because if you're still attached to the past, Something new is not going to come. That something new requires you letting go of that past. It requires you to let go of the doubts that you're putting out there in the future, all these projections, all these measurements that we've had. Let them all go. Just be present, be relaxed, be calm, pay attention to your feet, pay attention to the energy when you're walking around during race week. Pay attention especially to where your mind goes. And when it starts to go down the wormhole of self-judgment, you give it 5 seconds and then you stop it. All right? And the way that you stop it is by being aware that that is the way I'm thinking. I am thinking a doubtful thought. Now, you've brought in a level of intelligence when you've done that, because now you're aware, you're calling it out. I am thinking doubtful thoughts. Then you get a choice. You've got an impulse and a reaction. You get the choice to sit in the space between the two and no longer entertain the thought, or you get the choice to go down the levels of health into reaction, into doubt, into worry, into future projections that aren't here yet, away from the present moment, which will take you away from the present moment on race day. It's that simple. So your practice in race week is to constantly be grounding yourself in the present moment. And that can be something really simple. Following the breath, feeling your feet in contact with the ground is a big one. Take your shoes off. Go for a walk on the beach in bare feet. Walk around a nature trail with no glass in bare feet. Allow yourself to ground. Allow yourself to feel the contact of the earth. It's an amazing anchor to presence. So is the breath. Anything that will take you out of the doubtful thought. And if you have doubtful thoughts and you're aware of it and your mind is racing, let the damn thing race. Go for a walk. Don't just sit there in it. Take action. Don't react. Take action, right? There's an impulse. There's a train of thought that is doubtful or worrisome. You take yourself out of that loop. You go for a walk in bare feet. You pay attention to nature. You pay attention to your breathing. You remind yourself to stay calm. You remind yourself to stay present with where things are at now. Somebody's talking, you listen to the conversation. You anchor yourself into whatever's happening, because I guarantee you, if you do that on race week, you can reasonably expect the same thing to show up on race morning. Presence. Walking around transition area, feel your feet. Get into the water, feel the surface tension of the water, feel the temperature of the water, pay attention to the energy. Be in your body. Don't be in your head. Thanks for listening.